Did your business just go virtual overnight because of social distancing and maybe it's not exactly ready? Today we are talking about how to pivot your business strategy so that you can sail through social distancing. Hi, I'm Amy Walker, small business strategist, speaker, and author. Thank you so much for coming by my channel. I really appreciate your time. I know that it's valuable, and if you like what you see here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so you can get notified every time we release new content. We release new stuff every Monday through Friday, and I try to bring you great tips to help you grow your business and at the same time have more balance with your families. So this week, we are talking about social distancing, how to do business virtually, and really protect your business against the changes that we are all having to implement really quickly. I have talked to a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, a lot of entrepreneurs in the last couple of weeks, and it's not business as usual. I think that's something that we just have to understand and embrace, is that all businesses are being affected right now, negatively or positively. It's not all negative. I've got clients who, when I first heard about the quarantine, I reached out to one of my clients and I said, prediction time, your business is going to kill it in the next couple months. And she wrote back a week later and she said, you are absolutely right. Everything I create is going viral right now. Because she's primed for that. She's ready for it. She's been virtual for a long time. And then I've got the clients who have had to close their doors for 3 months. They were told by their state authorities they have to close their doors for 3 months to help stop the spread, and they're sitting there trying to figure out if there's anything that they can do to continue to run their business during this shutdown. So I know that we've got all different places on the spectrum, but my goal with this video today is to give you some really specific tips that you can use so that you can pivot and be more successful during the next few weeks and months as we practice social distancing. Okay, so this video is going to be split into two pieces. It's going to be short-term pivots that we need to make to be able to maintain business now, and then it's going to be long-term pivots that we're going to make that will help our businesses be more successful once this is over and once it's passed and once we're all back to business as not quite usual. I truthfully think consumer behavior is going to change in the next few months, and the things that you do now to be successful now will help you to be more successful down the road as well. So that's the good news. All right, first short-term pivot is virtual consults. People are not going to want to come in and meet with you in your space when they've not met you before, they don't know what your space is like, and they're feeling like they need to be at home watching Netflix and eating canned goods. They're just not apt to go out and wander and stroll about. And so the virtual consult is a great way to be able to build that trust and rapport so you can actually get the appointment. So let's go through some examples. If you are a hairstylist, you could offer virtual styling consultations so you can meet the new client. You can talk about their hair, what their goals are, what they want to have happen. You can also talk them through, show them your salon, tell them about your setup, and invite them to come in once they feel assured about your safety protocols. If you're a plumber and somebody is calling in, you can have them show you what's going on in their house. You can, through just something as simple as FaceTime, and you can have them, you can talk through the process of what you're going to do and how clean you are and how sanitized you are and all of that so that they will feel more comfortable with you coming in. If you are let's say you own a boutique, you could do virtual shopping appointments where you have people schedule times and then you take them through the shop, you show them all of the stuff that you have, and you box things up and you send it to them. There are so many ways to do virtual consults, and all of us need to be thinking through how can we use this in our business to be able to get to the sales conversation, especially if our service is something that requires us to be together. If your service doesn't require you to be together, this is easier for you to have happen. If it does require you to be together, you need to think of it as like the virtual consult gets you to the actual appointment. Number 2, restructure your offers so that your offers are really highly relevant. I just saw a great example of this. There was a store that was offering Corona kits, and basically it was a meal plus a roll of toilet paper. And I'm pretty sure this was a restaurant or a caterer or something, and they just threw the toilet paper in. It had nothing to do with what they were doing, but that's a way to make your offer relevant for right now. If you are serving an industry that's been hit pretty hard by this, you might want to say, okay, what are the biggest challenges that my clients are facing right now? How can I solve those exact challenges? And maybe create a specific package for a short-term need and sell those instead of selling what you would regularly sell. You might want to look at adjusting the price. You might want to look at adjusting the deliverables. You might want to look at adjusting the length of the contract. But you're going to need to see what the clients want and need and are willing to pay for right now. And it might be different than it was a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever, but for the meantime, we can't just assume that we're going to sell the same things we've always sold. People are buying differently. Just look in the grocery stores, you can tell they are buying differently. And so if you can put together something that's really highly relevant right now, you're going to be setting yourself up for more short-term success. Number 3, figure out your virtual delivery. How are you going to deliver your service virtually? Or in a different way, an adapted means. So for a lot of us, we can, if you're an insurance agent, get used to doing Zoom. If you are an accountant, you don't see your clients that much anyway, so you're probably fine. If you're someone like a chiropractor, a hairstylist, a dentist, an orthodontist, somebody where you need to actually see, feel, touch, and interface with your clients, you're going to need to adapt your service. Figure out every part of your service that can possibly be done virtually. And you might think, well, I can't do any of it virtually. I all have to be there in person. Well, that's not true. You can do retainer checks virtually. You could do, even with a chiropractor, you could do like spot checks to see how they're doing pain-wise and have them move their neck around, give them ideas for stretches and strength exercises and pain management. So really push your brain to think what can be done virtually, do those things virtually. The rest of it though, let's see how we can restructure. So for example, can you decrease the number of patients that you're seeing at one time? Can you space them out in order to have people having less access to each other and breathing less of the same air? Can you do house calls? I mean, I'm not saying house calls are convenient, but if it meant seeing somebody and charging them a house call fee versus not seeing someone at all, I would do house calls. I absolutely would, because you've just got to pay attention. And if they can pay for that time in a house call fee, I'd consider doing it. So I want you to think through, how can I shift my service and the delivery so that it can be more effective? If you sell a product, this would be a great time to start thinking about product boxes. People like getting that box where they get to see all the new things and they come and then they send back the things that they don't want. This would be a great time to consider something like that. If you've been doing a lot of high-end one-on-one services, this might be a great time to look at a group program so you can lower the cost to make it more effective and work with 5 to 10 people, still create a really good experience, but do it in a group setting so you still make what you want to make per hour, but it's not only one person who's paying for all of that. Okay, the 4th short-term pivot is your virtual community. People are hungry for community right now. They're missing it. They're wanting to have more connection. They're wanting to talk. They're wanting to share ideas. They're wanting to feel supported. And so this is a great time to work on how do you create a community around what you're doing. There's a lot of ways that you can do that. You can start a Facebook group. You can do virtual meetups, do virtual networking meetings. There's a lot of different ways, and that's what I really want you to think through. Is I don't want to be the person who has all the answers for you. I just want to ask you the right questions that will help you start brainstorming and figuring out how do you make this work for you. But people do want community. They do want connection. So let's do our part in helping to facilitate that. And I'm telling you, every one of those 4 things will help you come out stronger. But let's shift gears into some of our long-term pivots. All right, here's my predictions. I predict that the changes that we experience in the next few months are not all going to go back to normal. Now, I'm not saying I think we're going to be inside for the rest of our lives doing school online for everybody in the world. I'm not saying that at all. But think about all these people who are working from home and are like, dang, I'm getting all my work done. I'm saving on gas. I don't have any commute time. Do you think they're all going to want to go back into the office when it's done? Like, I think things are going to change. Our consumer behaviors are going to change. The companies that are just killing it right now with being able to ship and send, do you think they're not going to reallocate more resources and go, you know what, it's easier, we have higher profit margins when we ship and send than keeping these humongous stores to store all of our stuff? We're going to see some adjustments in the way that consumers want their services delivered. So what I want you to be thinking is not just how do I get through right now, but how do I end up more relevant after this is all said and done? So I'm going to give you 4 quick tips here of things that you can look at as well. Number 1, diversify your service. You might be like, oh, I'm not going to say it, but oh, because you truly don't have any way to provide your service right now. Like you've asked yourself all the questions. You're like, Amy, I'm brainstorming. I'm trying to figure it out. I have got nothing. I am out of business for as long as this quarantine lasts. Well, your challenge is going to be to diversify your service. You've got to add something else in that you can offer of value that might be new and it might be different. It might be a new direction, but you need to have ways to be able to not be shut down by an act of nature or God, okay? You need to be able to still be in business. So this is a great time if you've got to go that direction to be thinking through how can I diversify my service so that I have multiple services. Maybe it's that you're going to bring it up, you have a hand to hand, like hands-on service that you provide, and now you're going to also provide a product. That's a great way to diversify. Maybe you're going to add in an info product. That's a great way. But you've got to think of something so you have something else to sell in case something changes and people don't want to come back in. Or, we are a global community now. Maybe the next virus is worse and this happens again. You just want to be prepared. That's the big thing. I'm not trying to be like doomsday. I'm just saying get yourself prepared. Have another means of bringing in income so you don't have to feel this stress again, ever. Number 2 is predict and be ready for that change in consumer behavior. Think to yourself, okay, what am I loving about this quarantine? Because let's be honest, most of us have some stuff we're digging on with this quarantine. I am loving my slower paced schedule. I am loving more family time. I am loving less demands on where I have to be and when. I'm loving a lot of it. So if I look at me and say, okay, well, this is what I want and what I'm enjoying, now am I going to be willing to go back to the way things were? Look for those moments. Try to anticipate what you think your consumers will actually want when this is all said and done, and be prepared to give them what they want. 3 is a little vague, but hear me out on this. Make your business better. This is a great time to go through and really look at the strength of your overall business. Are you overspending in some areas? Are you putting time and energy into things that weren't producing well before and it's becoming very apparent that they're not producing now? Is your marketing plan not as strong in place? Like, really make your business better. Spend this time working on the foundation of your business, your vision, your corporate values, all of those things that you have time to do now that you've always kind of put off before. Do it now, and when you do come back, you're going to come back stronger. Last tip is find ways to be more visible when this is all said and done. So think through, do you have a digital platform? Are you seeking out media appearances? Are you creating content? Are you sharing your story loud and clear so that you're increasing your visibility? A lot of businesses, if your people aren't seeing you, then you're out of sight, out of mind. You need to be in sight and in mind right now in order to soar through this social distancing and this unique time in history. All right, my friends, I hope that has been helpful. I hope that your business is going well and that it's thriving, but I want you to know that if it's not a personal failure on your part. It's a hard time for a lot of us. I personally, in 1 week, lost $10,000 a month of reoccurring revenue. And I know I am not the only one. I talk to countless numbers of business owners who are going through similar challenges. But what I will tell you is I feel very peaceful about the process because I know how to pivot. It's something that I've done with my clients for a long time. It's like, okay, things are hard. This isn't working. Let's pivot. What exactly do people want right now? How can we give it to them? How can we innovate? How can we do better? So that when we come back from all of this, we're going to come back with a business that we love even more than the business we went into it with. That is my goal for you. If I can be of service at all, please reach out. Find me on social media, send me a message, tell me what your questions are. You guys, I can't say that I can answer every single question to every person in the world, but I will tell you it's a priority to me to be able to answer your questions and give you the support that you need. So please reach out. I'm here, and I really look forward to creating more content with you and being together for years to come. So if this was helpful, please like the video, share it with others in your community. I'd love to have you join our private Facebook community. Head on over to the CEO Spot on Facebook. It's a great place to connect and ask questions and just further the conversation. But that's it, you guys. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much.